My name's Barnaby Kent. I'm the Managing Director of Plumtree Group, a company, if I'm being honest, most of you will probably never have heard of, and I'll go on to the reasons why in a few minutes. I hope this presentation carries on the same vein as the previous speakers, which is to emphasise that Nottingham is a great place to do business, and there are many companies here who are doing really well, who many of you have probably never heard of and maybe will never hear of. But Nottingham is a great place to do business, and hopefully events like this will encourage a little bit more publicity. So who are Plumtree Group? Well, we are a software house. What does that mean? Well, we develop software from our offices in Keyworth, and we will sell that software to hospitals throughout the UK and Ireland. It represents about 80% of our business. We sell primarily to the acute hospitals, so in layman's terms, that's hospitals like the QMC. What is it that we sell? We sell solutions in very, very niche areas of the NHS. The NHS, you have to remember, is a £100 billion entity. To translate that, that's probably bigger than most of the economies of the world. So to try to sell generically to the NHS is just not practical. So we look at the NHS, break it down, and pick very, very niche markets within it. And then we will build relationships with people who work in those markets, and then we'll develop solutions on the back of it. It's because of that, and the fact that we work in very niche areas, generally high-value software with low competition, that you will never hear about us. And in truth, that's the way I like it, and that's probably the reason why I have no awards to my name, unlike my contemporaries, who seem to be picking up every award going. The type of software that we do is, to give you just a couple of examples, around infection control, so MRSA outbreaks in hospitals, pathology test requesting, electronic medical records, so stuff which on a day-to-day basis people just don't come across. So how is Plumtree Group different? Well, I think every company is pretty unique, to be honest with you, but if an outsider came into Plumtree Group and spent a day with us, I would suspect they'd highlight two areas where we are probably slightly outside the norm. One of those is our exceptionally cozy relationships we have with our customers. Most of the new product generation that we have comes from our customers. Our customers trust us and we trust them, and if they tell us there's a problem that needs solving, then we will sit down with them, try and identify it, whether it be a poor software performance from one of our competitors having too much market share, which is strange to say, but it's quite often the case in the NHS. They will tell us, we will do some market research. If we think it's a goer and the ROIs are right and we've got the skill sets to do it, then we will have a pop at it. We're not shy. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But that's quite an unusual way of conducting business. Secondly, I think we're slightly different in our financial modelling. We work very heavily on repeatable revenue. We made the decision about 4 years ago to focus on the repeatable revenue streams, realising that by doing that we were essentially sacrificing most of our profit and most of our cash flow during the early years, which meant we had to pump a lot of our own money in, but having faith that ultimately by doing that repeatable revenues will build and we'll be in a strong position. And ultimately that is exactly what we're in now. We cover about 80% of our cost base every year with repeatable revenue coming in. So that gives us an exceptionally stable platform now from which to grow. And rather than having to worry about cash or P&Ls on a monthly basis, we can work much more to the longer term scenario. And obviously by doing that, ultimately you become more profitable. And touching wood, we've had a great year on that front. We run at about a 20% net margin on £2.5 million worth of business. So to me, I love business, but I'm in business to make money. So to me, making money is the crucial area. Yes, I want growth, but I want to make money at the same time as growth. I'm greedy. Exciting developments within the last 12 months. As I say, we've had a great year financially, but we've also had a great year developing a couple of new products. Where has that led us? Well, we've recently, a couple of weeks ago, won a framework agreement to sell our software to Scotland. What does that mean? A framework agreement means that you become the dominant supplier of one particular type of software to Scotland. So currently we supply about 150 hospitals of QMC size, and with this agreement, hopefully it will mean we have every hospital in Scotland. So that'll be that market for our software tied up for one of the products. plenty more products to go out though. Secondly, we signed some really good partner agreements. As I mentioned earlier on, you don't hear a lot about Plumtree Group. One of the reasons is some of our partner agreements. We sign agreements with some very large multinationals who will take our products, white label it, so take all our branding away, and they will supply it under their logos, and they will take all the glory, but then again, we take some of the money. That's a fine arrangement as far as I'm concerned, but you have to obviously combine that sales approach with selling your own software, otherwise you do lose control of the sales cycle. So we've had a really exciting 12 months. Looking at the opportunities over the next 12 months, I think they're really good. The NHS is thriving. Just touching on the reasons why for that. Most people have heard of the National Programme for IT. It's that massive IT project that lost about £10 billion and have nothing to show for it. That's been ditched recently, which is great for the smaller companies because hospitals are very much in charge of their own destiny these days. And if you take a lot of hospitals applying for foundation status, again, that gives them much more control over their own budgets, their own IT destiny, and that suits the smaller companies who are looking to sell £50,000, £100,000 solutions. Touching on why Nottingham is a great place to be. Firstly, I'm from Nottingham. I'm born and bred. I'm a Forest fan. The A52 coming in is the best thing about Nottingham. To me, we talk a lot about why companies should move to Nottingham. To me, Nottingham is my home. It's where my friends are. It's where my families are. Why wouldn't I start a business here? And I think the two big things that Nottingham has going for it is the universities, which I think throw out some fantastic graduates. Most of our development staff are coming out of Nottingham universities with with masters or with PhDs, and they're fantastic. They're contributing from day one. And secondly and finally, I think geographically irrelevant is what a lot of companies are these days. We're a software company. It doesn't really matter where we're based, but we want to be based in a place which is great for our lifestyle. And Rushcliffe, in particular, is consistently voted one of the best places to live outside of London. So if you combine great universities with a great place to live, I think you've got the best ingredients to start entrepreneurial. And that's all I've got to say. So thank you very much.
Barnaby, thank you very much. I'm guessing here, but I think you're a cautious person. I think you're very creative, very entrepreneurial, and
I'm a financial person.
I can tell that. I've worked with them over the years.
I'm an accountant at heart.
And you know, I actually do agree with you. The recurring revenues model is the better model. But of course, it's slower. And what you must have in your organization is a great deal of expertise, specialisms. You've gone for niche parts of support for the NHS and similar organizations. How do you scale it up then? Is this just slow, or is it about risk?
Not at all. I mean, we grow at about 20% a year. At the start of every year, we only have two objectives. That is to be cash positive, because I'm an accountant at heart and having cash is king, and to run at a 10% net margin. Anything above that, we put back into growth. Realistically, though, I know Susie touched on it earlier on, people have fortes in business, and I don't see me being at the helm of Plumtree Group if it's a sort of 200, 400, multi-million pound, whatever organisation. My strength is the smallest, probably the S of SME. Plumtree Group has had about 5 or 6 offers to buy it. Realistically, over the next 2 or 3 years, we will take one of them if the opportunity is right. What will happen? I'll probably work for a couple of years, take a step back and start another company in Nottingham. That's my strength. So we'll probably be bought by one of the big multinationals, and you'll probably still not hear about Plumtree Group because we'll be swallowed up. But I think you need to play to your strengths. I think it's important to realise that, yeah, not everyone can be a CEO of a FTSE 100 company. It's not their skill sets. Everyone has to play to their skill sets. Me, I enjoy the challenge of starting companies, and that's probably what I continue doing.
Barnaby, I think you do it brilliantly. Thank you so much.